Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is the Twitter-pated Mama, and I am finally doing a video that I have been so excited to film. And this video is about our debt-free journey, so mine and my husband's. We are following Dave Ramsey's plan. We have completed Financial Peace University, and we are currently on baby step 2. So if you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey or Financial Peace University, there are a ton of YouTubers that talk about their journeys with Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey also has his own YouTube channel that you can check out, and I will link his information down below. Because I'm really not going to go too in depth on the plan or the baby steps in this video. This video is more to introduce you to my reasons why we got on this plan, and talk a little bit about my introduction to Dave Ramsey and what it's been like so far. So I'll start off by saying that I was introduced to Dave Ramsey and his plan several years ago. I had a few coworkers who were taking the class and would talk about it at work and talk about all the great things they were learning and changes they were making to their financial plans. And I was interested right away. This is right up my nerdy self alley. And when I brought the idea home to my husband, he was less than excited about it. We'll say that. He just wasn't interested at the time. You know, he really felt like our finances were in a good place and we were fine, our bills were always paid, there wasn't any problem and there wasn't any need to change. And the only part of the plan that I was able to talk him into was actually doing baby step 1, which was to have a $1,000 emergency fund for when those emergencies come up, because they do, and they have. And so that was the one part that he agreed to do. So we saved $1,000, put it in our savings account, and we didn't touch it unless there was an emergency. And when there was an emergency, we had it there to use, and then we would refill that emergency fund. But that was as far as he was interested in at the time, okay? And then several years went by, and I was reintroduced to Dave Ramsey by my parents. So my parents went through, my mom was laid off from a job that she was at for many, many years, and they ended up filing bankruptcy. And it was one of, if not the lowest point I've ever seen my parents in. And it was awful. And it totally wiped away that sense of financial security that I had. Even though I was independent and married and on my own, I had never seen my parents struggle financially ever. And it scared me for sure. So when they got through with that class, my dad offered to gift the class to my husband and I. And he really felt like, you know, you guys are young, and if you make these changes now and you follow this plan now, you're never going to be in the position that your mother and I have been in. And I was thrilled. You know, I was really thrilled. And at that point, a lot had changed for us. We went through an emergency that we never saw coming. We never saw it coming. And it cost us a lot of money. And that money we didn't have. And so we ended up putting over $6,000 on a credit card to get through the hardest time in our life. And at that point, we realized that we needed to make a change. I changed jobs. I took a significant pay cut for important reasons, and we needed to readjust some things, and we needed to get on track. And what we had been doing was no longer working. So the way we had always budgeted was, my husband and I got paid on opposite weeks for a very long time. And we divided the bills. So when I would get paid, we would deduct all the bills, the groceries, gas money, everything that needed to be paid for, and then say, okay, we've got $300 left over. And try to stay within that $300 of spending until he got paid, and then do the same thing. So we paid minimums on our credit cards. You know, we never missed payments on anything, but we weren't planning. We weren't taking care of responsibilities. We weren't paying anything off. We were just existing. So it wasn't working anymore. And we decided to sign up for the class, take that gift, and it's one of the best decisions. I can only speak for myself, but it's one of the best decisions we've ever made. So we had our $1,000 saved up, and when we entered that class, we had 8 credit cards. That's crazy. 8 credit cards. So when we started Financial Peace University, which is a 9-week course, we took it at a local church. We had to sit down and face some things about our finances. And the truth is, we had never sat down and calculated how much we owed. We had never really sat down and talked about how many credit cards we had. Like I said, we were kind of just coasting. And when we sat down and looked at the numbers, we had 8 credit cards. And we had some medical bills because our oldest son had been in the hospital. We had my student loan. And we had purchased a new car just a couple months prior. So it was overwhelming to look at that number of what we owed. It was overwhelming. Now, when I decided to do Dave Ramsey, you gotta understand a little something about my personality. If I decide I'm gonna do something, I go full throttle. I researched, I was on Dave Ramsey's website, I was listening to his radio show every single day, I was watching other YouTubers talk about their journeys. I knew those baby steps, I knew a lot of the plan before we ever walked into the classroom. But I also knew that I needed my husband's support, and I needed him to also be on board to work the steps, because I couldn't do it alone. You know, it had to be both of us putting all of our effort into this vision and this plan. So I was absolutely thrilled and excited to start the class because I wanted him to learn all the things that I had been focusing all this attention on for several weeks before the class started. So we did that. We sat down, we looked at what we really owed, and we started to talk about why we wanted to get out of debt, why we wanted to stop using credit cards, and why we wanted to change our financial future. And the why came really easy to me. You know, one of the things that you learn in the class is that in most relationships you have a saver who saves naturally and a spender. And in our relationship, I am more towards the saving side, and my husband is more towards the spending side. And that was important for us to realize about each other. You also realize that one of you is more of a nerd, and one of you is more of a free spirit. And I'm definitely the nerd. I love budgeting, and I love planning, and I love the spreadsheets that are associated with it, and I love the calculations, and he doesn't love that part so much. So, you know, we have found a way to make the budgeting work and work it together in a way that makes sense for our marriage and our family. So I'm going to do another video that kind of talks about how we're following the plan, but some of the things that we do a little bit differently because it just works better for us. But this is kind of just an introduction. But now what we do is we really try to stay focused on our why. And like I said, the why came really, really easy for me. I don't want to be unsure of my future. I don't want to work full-time forever. I want to be able to retire. I want to know that I have enough money to support myself and my husband when the time comes that we want to stop working. I want to be able to help my kids go to college if that's what they want to do. And the other big reason that just stood out for me was I want to be able to give. I can't tell you how many times opportunities have come into my line of vision for a cause that's important to me, you know, whether it's a friend who's struggling and who has a GoFundMe account. And I want to be able to give so much more than I'm ever able to do. A really perfect example, unfortunately, is the shooting that just happened here in Las Vegas. This is my hometown. I was born and raised here, and I raised my family here, and we suffered a terrible, terrible tragedy as a community and as a nation, really. I think it affected a lot of people, and there were a lot of good, and are still a lot of good opportunities to help, you know, and I give blood regularly. That's something I've done for a very long time, and we were able to contribute a little bit financially, but I just want to be able to do so much more, and this is the way to do it, and I know that. So when it's hard, because it's very hard, you know, it's a lot of self-discipline, and it's a lot of saying no to yourself for things that normally I would have put on a credit card. You know, normally I would have seen the Mickey's mystery box that's coming out for the holiday season and I would have put it on a credit card and worried about it later. But the truth was that later never came for us. Later never came. We continued to pay minimums and hike up balances that now we are digging out of. And so that's where we're at. We're on baby step 2. We have paid off around $17,000 since last July. So, you know, we're trucking along. We've also cash flowed a lot of things. We've had some maintenance issues with my husband's car. We've had some other medical issues come up. You know, so it's been a juggling act and it's a work in progress every single month, but I'm so grateful to Dave and I'm so grateful to the opportunity that my parents gave us in taking that class. So if you are following Dave Ramsey and you want to share with me some things that have worked for you, maybe you're past where I am, you may be on baby step 3 or 4, share, just give me a little encouragement. You know, I'm trucking it in baby step 2 right now and it's tough, you know. Or if you have some questions, maybe you've considered doing financial peace and you're not sure about it, ask me in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and hearing a little bit about my journey, please hit that like button. And since I do have more videos coming and you're clearly interested because you clicked on this video, go ahead and subscribe. And I will see you very soon for another video about our debt-free journey and following these baby steps to the end. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Have a good night.